Hello, 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 and welcome back to High on History. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Liz.
And this week, oh boy, we've got an episode for you. I am doing Rosa Parks and the Civil Rights Movement that she inspired worldwide. Now, when I first started this, I knew about the Montgomery bus boycott, and I knew about, the massive changes for the civil rights that it initiated. I did not know that within the following few years, it actually sparked a global movement.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah,
I am so excited to go on this journey with you.
Excuse me, pardon me. So now, I did avoid going over to Europe and checking out England during the Civil Rights Movement, but wowzers, that's a whole nother rabbit hole I do plan on going down. But today is our last episode for Women's History Month, and we are doing Rosa Parks, like I said. And this kind of came to be because me and my boyfriend were riding a bus together, and I asked him if we were going to sit in the front or the back, and he made a little joke about Rosa fighting for his rights to sit in the back. And that sparked a whole conversation between us about the podcast and about me not knowing what I was going to do. So with, his little cheeky comment, I decided that I was going to cover Rosa Parks this episode.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah,
that's so good.
It was such a cute little comment, and we just walked right past the statue as he was saying it too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I tell the story of our statue real quick?
Yes, you can totally tell the story of our statue.
So we live in Eugene, Oregon, and at our main bus stop in the heart of downtown is a statue of Rosa Parks sitting on a bench. And one of the things that just absolutely brings me home and tells me that Eugene is my home on a regular basis is that spring and summer, even into fall, as long as there are flowers blooming, there are people here in Eugene who will pick flowers and make these beautiful bouquets, and they will sit them in the lap of the Rosa Parks statue. Yeah. I have an entire collection of photographs I've taken over the years of flowers for Rosa Parks.
Yeah. The side of the seat next to her is rubbed gold, like on some of the Good Boy Doggy statues. The side of the seat's rubbed gold from people touching it to say a piece to her.
It is this beautiful living tradition right here in Eugene, Oregon. So I am so glad you're doing this because I also have put bouquets of flowers in Rosa Parks' lap. I know. I think there's a quiet moment when almost everybody in this city who cares eventually puts a flower for Rosa. Flower. And I have a whole collection of photographs from years and years of people putting flowers in her lap. I will just come out there. Yeah. I'll see a new bouquet. I'll take a photograph.
Right.
I love it. It's one of my favorite things ever.
I do too. So that conversation ended up sparking this legacy for her life. And so she was 92 when she passed away.
That's a long good life. Which she definitely deserves.
Yeah, so born in Tuskegee, Alabama on February 4th of 1913, and she passed away in Detroit, Michigan on October 24th in 2004. She's most commonly known as a civil rights activist, and she's been an activist since 1931 and continued to be an activist up until about 2001. And that was about the time when her health really started to kind of deteriorating. Yeah. And she is most credited for the arrest that sparked the Montgomery bus boycott. Now, before the Montgomery bus boycott, there was already some boycotts going on.
There were off and on boycotts sort of happening in the background for quite a while before that, if I understand it right. Yeah. Different types of boycotts for different things, but none of them really got the momentum.
Yeah. And so, before we begin, to kind of give you a background on her personal life and where she came from, her mother was named Leona Edwards, and she was a teacher in Tuskegee, Alabama area. Her father was actually absent from the picture. His name was James McCulley. He was a carpenter and a mason. I actually could not find anything on him. And then her brother, Sylvester McCulley, was a big part of her life. Had no children of her own, so her and her husband spent a lot of time with his 13 kids.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, so she was a devoted auntie. See,
she was a great auntie.
I'm an auntie too, and I love that role.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
And she was very close to her brother. He was born on August 20th of 1915, so there was about 2 years between the two of them.
Okay, so she was older.
Yes, and she was the older sister. He did serve in World War II as a U.S. Army veteran, and he was also a well-known activist throughout working with the Black Panther movement and a bunch of the Montgomery Boycotts movement.
Oh my goodness!
Rosa was even part of the Black Panther movement. Oh, just you wait, this girl is wild!
Oh! I did not know any of this. Okay, I'm so excited.
I didn't even know any of this. So I knew nothing about Rosa Parks before this. And this is why.
This is why we're covering this stuff, because even the history we think we know, usually
you don't
actually know. Yeah. What you learned in the 4th and 5th and 6th grade, not the story.
Yeah, this is not the same story that I ever would have been taught. And I yanked most of this off a wiki. Not gonna lie, great source. So she was actually named after her grandmothers. She was named, one of her grandmother's name was Rose, and the other was Louisa.
Oh.
So
her name is Rosa
Louise Parks. And so the A from Louise was given to Rose, and so it was cute. The last letters of the names were switched. So now, her maternal grandfather was a product of plantation owners' problems, to say the nicest way without getting...
Wait. Would you repeat that?
Sexually assaulted mother. I'm trying to, censor us, but I mean, yeah.
SA, I think, is the word.
Yeah, I think that is the correct one. So his mother was raped by the plantation son owner, and that's how her grandfather came to be. And then she grew up on that grandfather's farm with her mother and her brother in Pineville, Alabama. So he ended up getting his freedom and had a farm of his own. And that's where she grew up with her brother and her mother. Like I said, the father was absent. And there was no explanation. I actually kind of dug to see, did he get killed or anything? No. He lived a happy life in California. That was all I could find.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Just an absent father. Now, her childhood was kind of interesting. She ended up picking cotton for a little while when she was about 5 years old. And she made about 50 cents per day, and that's what she did to help support the family.
I wonder, in terms of inflation, what that would actually be. Did you look that up by any chance?
Oh, I did not. That did not cross my mind, and I would not even know how to do the math.
You don't need to do the math. What year was that?
So
she was 5?
1913, so it would have been around 1918, 1919. Well, anyway, while you're doing that, and during her childhood, she had learned how to quilt and sew. These habits, these skills, actually became a part of her career. She became
You said in 1918?
Yeah, she would have been 5 in 1918, maybe 1919. And by 10, she had made her first quilt, as well as her first dress at the age of 11.
Oh my goodness. Now I know that wealth inequality is out of control. Do you know how much she was making at 5 years old in 1918?
Well,
in today's currency?
What?
$10.50 to $11.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I didn't mean to bring that into current commentary. I didn't think it was going to come up like that. Okay,
wow.
Moving on
before we get on that rabbit hole. So she attended and was baptized in the oldest independent black denomination church of, and it was called the African Methodist. This word messes me up. It's Episcopal.
Episcopal?
Yeah, that one.
The Methodist Episcopal Church.
Yes. She was baptized at 2, and she was a member of that church pretty much her whole life until she did end up leaving Alabama for Detroit. Now, she did miss a lot of school. She was kind of a sick child. She had a lot of tonsillitis. She did attend a vocational school that ended up closing, and she was transferred to a school that was called the Alabama State Teachers College for Negroes, where she eventually dropped out to take care of her grandmother. And that school was actually a school that was designed for segregation. Like, that was...
Right, that was... Well, I mean,
obviously. In the name. I just wanted to emphasize that.
Well, not only in the name, but if she's going to school there, then this is before the civil rights movement had actually changed things yet.
Right. Yeah.
And it's not like they changed overnight. That was such a process.
Yeah. Oh no. Anyway. And then in her young 20s, she had worked to maintain her family farm. She was also a domestic houseworker. Now, in the time...
Domestic houseworker, that is a really nice way to say maid, yeah?
Oh, yeah. And in that time, it is actually speculated that she may have been a victim of abuse as a houseworker.
Why speculated? Didn't people just ask her at some point, or...?
She neither confirmed nor denied it.
Oh.
And because it was such a common practice back then to abuse your workers, it's just kind of speculated.
Yeah, no, I get it.
And that's why I'm saying it is speculated, and I'm bringing that up because I'm trying to emphasize what builds up to the civil rights movement here in America.
Right.
Like, I'm trying to paint this picture to be grotesque because what happened to these Americans is disgusting. And so this...
So at this point, and I'm sorry, which year were we in?
This would have been in her 20s, so we would have been looking at somewhere around 1930s, late 20s.
Okay. And basically she's working as a domestic houseworker.
Yep.
And she's probably being fairly deeply mistreated.
Absolutely.
Okay.
One way or another, she is being victimized.
I am a little bit curious. What is the evidence of that? Like in what way is she being mistreated?
That's why I'm saying it was speculated.
Mm-hmm.
And it was only speculated because of the times. And every time I clicked on a different link to kind of follow that through, there was no actual hard evidence that she herself ever claimed.
It deflected. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now, like I said...
We run into this a lot. We're actually going to do a whole episode on why that happens even now.
Right. So, and that's why I just speculated because of how common it was at the time. And because of how common is why I'm bringing it up to help paint the picture of what leads up to the civil rights movement as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, let's quickly hop back to her wonderful husband. He's an awesome man, Raymond Parks. He was a barber and an activist. I love their love story, and that's why I'm bringing him up. And
I do know a little bit about this part. I also love their love story.
Their love story is funny. I think it's super cute. So they had no children, like I had mentioned, and they had met in 1931 through mutual friends. Initially, she didn't want anything to do with him. She didn't like his lighter skin tone, and she just had a previous bad experience with a partner, and it didn't go too well, so she wasn't really interested in, dating at that time when she had first met him.
I've been there. I will never love another man again. I'm done with them.
Yeah.
Done.
So, eventually...
That's never as true as I would like it to be.
Eventually, he convinced her all sweet like to go for a drive. Ooh, in 1931.
In 1931, going for a drive
is that a date? And he was a black man who owned a flipping car.
Oh, okay, so he was a little bit, he was secure.
He was well-to-do enough that he owned himself a car.
I mean, frankly, even among... there's this huge disparity in 1931. Right, cars are expensive. There's this huge disparity in 1931. There is way less of a chance for a black person to own a car than there is for a white person. However, lots and lots of white people also did not own cars.
Yes.
Owning cars was absolutely in 1931 a symbol of privilege.
A privilege and prestige.
And ever even more so for a black person. Like
Absolutely.
It would have been for a white person, but
even more
compound
so.
that by like 10 for a black person.
Yeah. And now, he was the first real activist that she met. So, he inspired her, and she was just Twitter-pated for his opposition to the radical prejudices.
See, that's the reason I would fall in love with a dude, too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, are you a rebel like me?
Oh, right. So he convinced her to finish high school, and she ended up getting her high school diploma. 7% of black Americans at that point had a high school diploma.
Wow.
Just 7.
Oh, man.
And that was nationwide. That wasn't just in Alabama.
So he's the reason she managed to get a high school diploma.
Yeah. He convinced her to go back to high school.
Good on him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So not only is the fact that they are black an impediment to doing this, but she is a black woman. So being a woman is an impediment to doing this. It's hard to describe how much going against the grain. This is a time when there's definitely, when people who have an education, again, even among some white people, having an education is seen as a frivolity for some, a don't step above, don't try to get too big for your britches.
Yeah.
That's the attitude in her time. It's applied to black people in specific. It's applied to women even more specifically.
Right.
That's what she's walking past getting a high school diploma.
And she was brilliant for it. Now, that was after they had gotten married. They had gotten married on the 18th of December in 1932 on her mother's farm.
I kind of want to celebrate that day now. I feel like observing their anniversary.
Oh,
that's sweet.
I think that would be sweet.
December 18th. We'll keep that in mind.
And at the time of their meeting, he was already a member of the Voter League, which was an organization that specifically focused on helping black African people register to vote.
Nice.
Well, black Americans, sorry, not black African. I meant to say African American, and too many things came out at one time and not enough at the same time.
African American.
Yes. So that organization, the Voter League, was meant to help register people. And at that time, Montgomery citizens, there was only 0.1% of people that were black voters. That's such a small number of voters.
Wait a minute. So there were some?
Uh-huh. But 0.1%.
0.1%.
Yeah, through the Voters League mainly is what helped them get their votes. Yeah.
That is devastatingly small.
While she was in high school, again, getting her diploma in 33, fast forwarding again, she worked as a nurse's aide at St. Margaret's Hospital and as well as a seamstress. Now, working as a seamstress...
So she had 2 jobs when she was going to school.
Yeah, this woman's a beast.
Badass.
I'm telling you. Like, this woman had, like, a
She's
career.
a nurse.
She's a nurse, she's a seamstress. And she's a seamstress on Maxwell Air Force Base.
Right, because everything in 1933 revolved around the war.
Yep. So she's working at
Actually, this is kind of a weirdly good moment for women. Enough men were being sent off to war. This did a lot for women's liberation. World War II did a lot for women's liberation in the U.S. because there were enough men gone that women finally had an opportunity to be in the workplace they literally needed us in.
Yeah. Now, the cool thing about Maxwell Air Force Base, because of the war, is it was fully integrated.
Right.
There was no segregation allowed on the base.
Weirdly, I mean, I know that current political narrations aside, historically, actually, the military has been one of the, not that there was not segregation in the military,
Yes.
but the military was, for a long time in our history, probably the most forward for its time in any given time for a long time.
Agreed. Now, this is kind of an important fact that this military, the base was fully integrated. That means she could ride the bus around base and be sitting next to a person of white skin. And there was no problem. She could sit at a table and not be told to get up and move. So, when she would go home off the base, that's when she experienced the Jim Crow laws. And that's when she saw a lot of injustice. She started
the
getting,
juxtaposition.
Yep.
I am free here. I am not free as soon as I leave these gates.
and the process of leaving the base to go home is what really opened her eyes to the injustice.
Sure.
Now, she began attending the NAACP meetings because she saw a picture of one of her best friends from high school at one of the meetings.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, so she's like, oh, wait, I know her, I'm going.
Oh.
Like, right? So she started attending these meetings, and by December of that year, she had become secretary of the local chapter, and she was using her position as secretary to organize a committee for the justice of Racy Taylor. Oh boy, we're about to get in a story on her. So before we proceed to Racy Taylor's story briefly, I do want to note that the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, or the NAACP, was founded on February 12th, 1909, in response to the race riots of Springfield, Illinois.
So, are we going to get into the...
I am going to go back into Racy.
But are we going to get into the race riots?
I am not talking about the race riots. Nope.
But they are important to the story. We are going to talk about them.
Yeah. With how heavy this episode was, I was going to have to skip talking about the race riots. I just wanted to mention them because they are the reason why we have the NCAA.
Right.
NAACP, I'm sorry.
It's okay, you got it.
No, I did the basketball instead of the flipping...
I know, you got this.
And so, anyways, now, to move on briefly to Racy Taylor, it happened in 1944. She was a 24-year-old young woman leaving church. She was a mother, and she had her friend with her. 6 white men kidnapped her and brutally raped her. They admitted it. They bragged about it in court. And because they were privates in the military, they were just allowed to walk free.
Yeah, so all that stuff I said about the military earlier, I mean, there's 2 sides to every story.
Yeah, right? 2 courts failed to convict them. Yeah. Total failure of the justice system right there. And so that's what she was doing with her position in the NAACP. She was already starting to work hard on creating movements. The protesting is beginning. Like I mentioned, I'm trying to build up the story for the Montgomery boycott and what she did to help other movements before her arrest. And her arrest is what sparked it out.
Right.
So these are her leading up events. These are what triggered her to be like, enough is enough.
Here and no further.
Yeah. So,
Sorry, that's Captain Picard.
so, on a lighter note, quite a few episodes ago now, since here we are on episode, I believe, number 19, Rosa Parks registered to vote in 1945. She got her rights to vote, even though technically they weren't legal at that point. She had her rights to vote. Took her 3 times to register. That was a fight, but she got it. And I couldn't find anything about her voting record, which was, in my opinion, kind of a shame.
I'm going to tell you why that's not a shame.
Yeah.
It is it was anyway, sacrosanct that if you were not yourself in public office, your right to vote in the United States is private so that it cannot be used against you. We can't find her voting record because we don't track the voting records of average citizens. We only track the voting records of representatives as they vote on bills in Congress. Your voting record, my voting record are supposed to remain private for all time. That's why we don't know.
Okay, good to know. So now, a brief side note. There was a family that she worked for as a seamstress that also ended up playing a huge role in her court case. They're called the Durr family. At least I'm calling them the Durr family right now. Clifford and Virginia Durr. Clifford was a renowned lawyer at the time. He worked with Franklin D. Roosevelt on the New Deal. He was known to be a dissenter.
Wait a minute. Who else do we... We covered somebody in the Long Road to Vote who also worked on the New Deal. It was what was her name? Oh my gosh. It wasn't Susan B. Anthony. It was the person I covered. The Bread and Roses chick.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shoot, I don't remember her
my
name.
goodness. Then that means that they would have been there.
Oh, wow, yeah. They would have known each other.
Why can't I remember her name? Anyway, sorry about that.
So, Clifford also was a dissenter during the Truman's loyalty oath. So he had nothing to do with the Truman administration. He almost pretty much lost his position as one of the leading lawyers. He was a top dog during the Roosevelt administration. Truman comes into the office and he's like, "Fuck you, dude, I'm out." And he is most known to be representer. He represented, I can read my own handwriting. It's not even my own handwriting, it's typed. Oh boy, having a day, guys.
Slow down, that's all.
So, he represented Rosa Parks during her trial. Now, his wife, she's kind of cool. I didn't really want to look too much into her, but I got some really cool information out of her. She actually, Virginia is her name, she grew up in a family who owned a plantation. She had the whole 9 yards, and you guys can fill in on the blanks of how she behaved. She also...
So she was, like, not a good person?
She was not a good human being in her early life. Her grandfather was also known as a Ku Klux Klan member. She had some bad mindsets. She was raised by some bad ideas. She was all about them Jim Crow laws. Now, she ended up going to a college, and I couldn't figure out... I forgot to write down the name of the college, and only just caught that. Is really what I said here, is what I mean here. When I said I couldn't figure out the name of the college, I forgot it. The college had what was called a rotating tables rule, kind of like how I was talking about with the military base. No segregation during lunch. You can sit anywhere you want. Eat. Basically, there was, just sit down. Enjoy your meal.
That's how I make my cats and my dogs get along when I have both. I force them to actually, there are no rules around the water hole. Yep. Everybody has to play nice around the water hole.
Yep, that's pretty much that same rule. Well, she attempted to protest it. She was outraged by the rule. Oh yeah. She was all about that shit.
My.
She got threatened to get kicked out. They threatened to expel her if she did not change her attitude.
Good.
Well, she did. And now, as she changed her attitude, we ended up getting what is called the Virginia Durr moment. This is referred to as a psychological developmental phenomenon where an experience deeply challenges your values as a core and you change from them.
Wait a minute.
That you develop.
She had enough of a revolution that we named an entire psychological phenomenon after her?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that is kind of awesome.
And that's why we're talking about her for this brief moment.
Okay. That is kind of awesome.
Yeah, and that's why I actually kind of go a little more in depth in her background.
Okay.
Because I had to paint the picture of where she came from.
I had never heard this before. This is awesome.
Oh, I know. And this woman becomes Rosa's, like, bestie. Yeah. She works for Virginia. Rosa ends up working for Virginia. Virginia gets her all sorts of jobs, is constantly working with her throughout the activist movement. They become really close through the trial and everything. Like, they're family.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah. Now, I mentioned Jim Crow laws earlier, and I do kind of want to just, like, touch on what a Jim Crow law is for those who don't really know. I know a lot of our viewers are at least smart enough to know what a Jim Crow law is. But these were laws that were systemically designed to racially segregate, and they were enforced by the United States through 1880 up until 1960s. And that's why I'm emphasizing this. This was up until the 1960s. My parents were alive for this type of shit.
And like the government enforced them through the 60s, but just because governments stop doing things doesn't mean that private businesses or individuals stop doing things. So some of the results of some Jim Crow laws continued and do continue to be enforced in pockets by people and places to this day. But you can definitely still see their remnants in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
Less so in the 90s, but like I said, in pockets, it all still exists.
Now, by 1901, so this was a little bit before Rosa was born, these laws were systematically affecting all aspects of everyday life for African Americans.
It's fascism for black people.
Yes. So Rosa grew up with the widespread racist violence and an intensifying violence from the Ku Klux Klan at the end of World War I. So she grew up in a lot of, like, hatred. And again, I'm just trying to paint the picture of what causes her to say, I've had enough. I'm not going to move anymore. Mm-hmm. And she recalls, this is a quote that I actually found by her, lots of black people were found dead under mysterious circumstances. She says that. Throughout her childhood, this happened due to these laws.
Just randomly, people in her life would just be dead.
Would be found mysteriously dead. Yeah.
That's... Can you imagine being I cannot imagine being a child and growing up in that kind of world.
I couldn't either.
I don't...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now...
This is the real reason our ancestors were made of sterner stuff.
Right. Now, a couple other events that happened that triggered her to protest, that she worked on to help get the laws changed or to help raise money. She did whatever she could for the Scottsboro Boys of 1931.
I don't know.
The Scottsboro Boys were 9 teenage boys who were accused of raping 2 white girls. They were sentenced to death by electrocution. Now, these girls were possibly prostitutes who were avoiding being charged with crossing state lines with immoral purposes.
So they claimed that their Johns raped them?
Yes. And then these boys were on a group of, were hopping trains. They were just boys being boys. And in the 1930s, it was so easy to hop a freight train. They hopped in the wrong car. It was already occupied by a group of white boys. Well, white boys started picking a fight. They lost and got thrown off. The girls stayed behind, too. So not only did they lie, they chose to stay with them. So let's paint a picture here, guys. See what I'm seeing? They chose to stay with the boys because, ooh, they just want to fight. And then, oh, no, we're not with them. They just, blah, 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 blah. That's what I'm seeing here. And it was an all-white jury. It was entirely rushed.
Sure.
Less than 30 minutes to decide.
On capital murder?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, oh my God. No, see, I mean, maybe if we considered that the prosecution had some kind of like clear, cut and dried case with forensic and video evidence today, maybe.
Right.
But in 1944, did you say?
31.
31. Yeah. No way. That's just racism. That's just
Right.
racism.
Yeah. And then we talked about the rape of Racy Taylor of 1944. And then Jeremiah Reeves in 52. So we're getting closer to the bus boycott. Jeremiah Reeves was a 16-year-old drummer, and he was a grocery delivery boy by day. He was indicted for raping a woman after denying her advances while he was delivering her grocery items. She admitted it. The trial took 2 days, again, an all-white jury, and again, less than 30 minutes to decide that he was guilty. He didn't get to be freed ever. They actually they executed him pretty much within a few years. He was executed on March 28th in 1958. And the community was outraged, especially the black community, and they were outraged because white men are never persecuted at this time for any crimes against the black community, and definitely never put to death. The problem with all of these cases is every single man is sentenced to death. A few cases get overturned and a few people have been released. But we're talking flip a coin. Like, you're gonna die pretty much every time back then. And now in 55, there was the lynching of Emmett Till.
This story, I know, it is,
This one rocked me a little hard, too. This boy was only 14, and he was visiting his family in Mississippi. He lived in Chicago, and this trial for the time, this case gained a lot of media attention. This was actually the one...
It actually recently came back up in the news.
Oh, no way. I didn't know about that.
The injustice remains.
Oh, I believe it. I don't doubt that.
But she admitted what she did, and we still declined to prosecute.
Oh,
We
wow.
didn't get a chance.
Wow. That's fucked up. Because,
That's actually fairly recent news.
yeah, because he was kidnapped from his uncle's house for offending Caroline, this woman. He was beaten, mutilated, shot in the head, and then just tossed in the river. Just discarded. It took them 3 days to find his body and pull him out. A 14-year-old little boy. Okay, 14-year-old little boys are rowdy, but not enough to just, deserve that treatment.
And she lied and
Of
lied
course
and
she
lied.
did.
And then, at some point, kind of recently, she basically confessed that everything she said was a lie. And some new law was passed that was going to allow us to go back and prosecute generally hate crimes that had passed their statute of limitations under other circumstances.
Ooh.
Or something of that effect. I wasn't super following it. But anyway, we had the opportunity recently to decide to perhaps prosecute her for this, and the government chose not to.
Wow. That's really messed up. So that is really messed up. So, her husband, and his half-brother, husband was named Roy Bryant, and his half-brother, J. William Millam, was found not guilty. And in 1956, the brothers were doing an interview for a newspaper, and they were bragging about their crimes. So, not only did they brag about killing him right after they did the murder, she's now confessing that she lied.
And for those of you who may still, for some reason, because you're woefully uninformed, which probably means you're not watching this channel, but this is the literal definition of white privilege. This is what people are talking about when they talk about white privilege.
Yeah.
This is it. Anyway, go ahead.
So, now, there was a trial that got brought up just a little bit after her case. This is a case that went to the Supreme Court that was meant to be the Montgomery bus boycott case. Mm-hmm. Now, her name was actually taken off of the Supreme Court case because she had a district court case against the state of Alabama for the Montgomery bus boycott.
Oh, so basically she could only do one or the other?
Bingo. So they dropped her name and took her case with 4 other women to court.
Okay.
To the Supreme Court. And that's how we got all the laws changed.
Okay.
Yeah. So, to kind of give you a background on the Browder versus Gale Supreme Court case hearing, this was the ruling that decided the segregation on public transportation was unconstitutional. The Montgomery bus boycott played a significant role in this decision process making, and the lawyer Fred Gray represented. Fred Gray was a lawyer that he ended up working with the original Montgomery boycott bus trial lawyer, trial as well, with Rosa Parks, with Durr, and one other lawyer, E.D. Nixon.
Wait, Mr. Durr? As in Virginia Durr's husband?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, he takes on her case personally.
Okay.
Yeah. But, I'll get there in just a second. So, now, the petition for the case was filed on February 1st with the Supreme Court in 1956. And by the 5th of June, it was the district court has ruled that the segregation depriving people of equal protection under the 14th Amendment, and the court ordered the city to desegregate. The appeal filed by the city of Montgomery, Alabama, was denied, and on November 13th, the Supreme Court had ruled against the district court. A second petition was filed by the city and state on the 17th, and it was completely denied.
Okay. The way you presented that, by the time we get to the end there, I have no idea. Is the rule for segregation in place or not by that point?
So when we get to December 20th, it has been that the segregation is to be desegregated.
Okay, so what you're saying is all the appeals were denied.
Yep, appeals
even by the Supreme Court.
Yep. Okay. And they tried to appeal it 3 different times.
Okay.
And it got denied every time. Now, on the 20th, after the appeals kept attempting to be pushed through, federal marshals showed up on the mayor's doorstep and said, "Cease and desist now."
Wow, that's getting serious.
Oh, yeah.
Incidentally, for those who don't know, and for those who hear and believe that the courts have no enforcement power, that's not actually entirely true. The enforcement power of the judiciary is the U.S. Marshals.
Yep.
So yes, they do have an enforcement power.
Yes.
In case you missed it.
Go ahead. Yee. Okay, so the case was filed against the mayor, Gale, W.A. Gale of Montgomery, Alabama, city commissioners, Clyde Sellers and Frank Parks, Police Chief Goodwin Rupenthal, I believe is how his name is pronounced, along with Montgomery City Lines Inc., which was the name of the Montgomery bus station that arrested her, as well as the Alabama Public Service Commission. They were claiming that the lawsuit of they were claiming that bus segregation laws enforced by these officials and by the bus company were unconstitutional, and they specifically violated the Equal Protections Clause on the 14th Amendment, which guarantees the equal protection under this law.
Right.
So, now, I'm going to skip the 14th Amendment. We talked about it before, and, I mean, yeah, I'm just going to skip it, and let's get straight to the boycott. So, now, a little bit of background on the laws of what was going on in Montgomery, Alabama. By 1900, the city itself had already passed ordinances for segregation.
Right.
So, and it was...
In spite of the fact that it's totally illegal now anyway.
We were back in 1900.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we are back in 1900 right now.
Before it gets outlawed.
Yes. So in Montgomery, the city had passed ordinances for segregation before the state even started passing segregation laws.
Oh.
Yeah, right?
So that's a place that just started out with the racism up, right in your face.
Yep. And then they ended up passing an ordinance on city transportation that basically amended the law that said to stipulate that no rider will surrender their seat if another one was available. There was originally a law that said that every rider had to surrender their seat for a white passenger, pretty much.
Oh, you mean every black rider?
Yeah. But then this amendment was so it was, as long as there's a seat available, they didn't have to get up.
And I'll bet they called that progress.
Oh, they did. Of course they did. Now, many drivers failed to follow that ordinance anyways.
Sure.
Of course, they didn't give a fuck. Sorry, language.
Children should be able to watch this show.
I know. One day we'll be beat.
Also, do you know how many times you used the R word earlier?
Well, I mean, I'm fully aware of this. If we weren't monetized before, we're definitely not monetized now.
We are not monetized yet.
I know. So now, many of the drivers failed to follow these ordinances, and they were actually given police authority. And most of them carried weapons. So not only do you get bus drivers who can tell you to move whenever they want you to move, they can attack you and harass you with police power.
Yep.
And I do have the city code for that. It was like chapter 6, section 11 or something like that. I actually wrote down the city code somewhere. It'll show up back somewhere else in my notes. Now back then, 3/4 of the riders on the bus were black, according to the Women's Political Council. And a lot of them were forced to pay up front with the driver, exit, and reboard at the back of the bus.
Oh, so it's just a humiliation parade.
On top of that, yeah.
Yeah.
So, most of the time, a driver would drive off at that point when you exited. So they take your money and not give you a ride.
So even when it's not a humiliation parade, it's
theft.
It's theft and... Oh my god.
Oh yeah. Now do you see the picture I am painting here to... the significance of the civil rights movement is unreal. Like, I knew it meant a lot. I did not understand the atrocities that led up to the Montgomery boycott. This is stuff that happened in her life that led up to this.
This is just insane.
Yeah. So now...
that if people could ever feel justified in treating
anyone like that.
Anybody like that is this is unreal. The fact that on some level this type of bigotry continues to this day globally should fire your blood if you're a human being.
Right.
If you're an evolved human being, this should make you mad.
Yeah. Now, Rosa has this run-in with James Frederick Blake once before the boycott.
James Frederick Blake. Now, he's the bus driver.
He's the douchebag of story. He's the biggest POS. He boils my blood. Like, if I could go back in time and smack someone around, I'd go for him. Like, he's a jerk. But anyways, so in 1943, he was a brand new driver to the route. And Rosa was waiting for the bus to go home. It was kind of a yucky day. It was rainy, gross, like 6 o'clock at night. She was ready to go home. It was winter for, like, Alabama. And on one account, it says she walked through the white section because there was a bunch of people standing at the stop waiting to get on behind her after she paid. Well, he told her to go off and exit on the back. Well, she took a seat so other people can pass. Well, when she got off, he drove off. Now, this is another variation of the story. The other section said that he demanded her to get off, and she chose not to get back on. So, did he drive off? Did she choose not to?
Where did that story come from?
The wiki. So I checked out his page, and I checked out her page. And they both told two conflicting stories.
Interesting.
And then when I decided to do, check the link stories, they started going all these other different stories of what actually happened in 43.
Okay.
So either she chose not to get on, or he drove off, and either she went through the white section and sat down, or did not. I don't really, there was actually no story on that, other than she did not get back on the bus. That was the only thing that was confirmed in 1943. She did not get back on.
Okay. But we know that it was common practice for them to wait for people to get off the bus and then to drive off with them.
So
that does seem likely.
Yeah, it seems likely. And like I said, one account says she either walked through or even sat in the white section.
Okay.
Right? So other passengers could pass her so she could get back off? I don't know. So, the story for that one in 1943 was kind of combobulated. Now, James Frederick...
What we're talking about, there's no such thing as accurate history. We're going to get into that over the next couple of months.
Right. Now, James Frederick Blake. This dude was the bus driver that was defied by Rosa Parks. He had ordered 3 other people, including her. So the total of 4 people. Let's hold up the right fingers. Total of 4 people he told to move. And 3 of them got up and moved. So there were seats available. Remember the law from earlier?
Yeah.
She didn't have to move at that point.
And she knew it.
Yes.
He just didn't want a black person sitting near the front of the bus, period, end of story.
Yeah. And she wasn't even in the front of the bus. She was in the black section of the bus.
Oh.
Yeah, she was sitting in the middle rows. So the first 10 rows were for white people, the first 10 rows are for black people. Let's say the middle 5 rows is kind of where she was sitting in her section of the bus. And so, yeah.
So there's seats available. She's not even in the whites only section, and he's still telling her to move further back.
Yeah.
Because he has a beef against her anyway.
Yeah. Now, in June of 1955, before he tells them to move, he's en route in his bus when he attempts to run the car of Lucille Times off the road. He proceeds to chase her and follow her to her destination, getting out of his bus, screaming and yelling slurs at her while he's on the job.
So this guy wasn't just your average run-of-the-mill bigot. He's an active, aggressive racist.
Yes. And so Lucille Times had attempted to, with the NAACP, had attempted to contact the bus company, and they got no response. She wrote letters to newspapers that went unpublished. And she personally began her own little boycott that began offering free rides to the black people who were waiting for the buses.
I actually knew about this story, but only from a Doctor Who episode, to be clear.
Well, that was a little bit of Lucille Times and James Frederick Blake. Now, the incident of December 1st, 1955, so that was June when he attempted to run Lucille off the road. Now,
the following December.
Same year, December 55.
The following December.
Yep. Blake demands Parks and 3 others to move. Like I said, the 3 others move and the rest is history. Now, when she refused, he actually called the station and was told to exercise his powers and put her off.
So he called the police, said, here's the problem. They said, you have power to remove her from the bus, just remove her from the bus.
Yep. And in an interview, he later says, this is the audacity this man has. I wasn't trying to do anything to that Parks woman except my job. She was in violation of city codes, so what was I supposed to do? That damn bus was full and she wouldn't move back. I had my orders. I had police powers. Any driver for the city did. So the bus filled up, a white man got on, and she had his seat. I told her to move and she wouldn't do it. Like, really, bro? Like, yeah. Like, So he ended up arresting her because he did have police powers. She was fined $10 for a disobedience ordinance, and then she was also fined $4 in the court fees. And that was because of the Alabama District Court ruling. Because of her arrest, she went to trial. Because she was arrested, you go to court, right? That's how the justice system works, even to this day. So because her personal trial of being in court for her arrest is what stopped her name from being on the actual Supreme Court case.
Right. Because she'd been arrested. Now she has a criminal record.
She's actively in court at this time.
Right. She has an active case.
Yeah, so she can't be in 2 court cases at one time. That's illegal. So that's why her name got dropped.
Not exactly.
Well, yeah. For this, it was, because it was same case, pretty much.
Right, you can't try the same case in 2 different courts.
And that's what I was trying to say, it's illegal.
Yeah.
So now, when she was arrested, she was taken down to the Montgomery City Hall. I was actually able to find her mugshot. I thought that was really kind of cool. I actually got to see photos.
That is cool.
Yeah, no, I got to see photos of her being fingerprinted. Yeah. I can't.
That's so cool.
I can't wait to be able to put this up on the screen.
It's not cool that she got arrested. It's cool we have photographs.
To see the photos, yeah. That's what's cool. I would love to be able to post that photo and be like, this is the image I'm talking about.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. So now, while she was arrested, she had repeatedly asked for the phone. She was denied over and over and over again. And late evening rolls around. She finally gets a phone call to her mama. And she calls her mom to ask her husband to come pick her up. Well, sometime throughout the night, E.D. Nixon, he is, hang on, I put his notes. E.D. Nixon, Edgar Daniel Nixon, was the first black man to run for the seat in the county's Democratic Executive Committee. And he was an activist, a lawyer. He was, he was an just amazing dude. He has a track record for our government that is so brilliant.
Maybe someone we
like
could do a
Bernie Sanders
on.
level. I can put him, different aspects, Bernie Sanders level of activism, though.
We'll have to do an episode on him.
Right? So E.D. Nixon got a phone call, well, his wife got the phone call, that there was a passenger on the bus who knew a friend who knew E.D. Nixon's wife. She called and said, hey, Rosa just got arrested. So the Nixons go pick up the the Durr family, and the Durrs pay her bail. get her ass out of jail. Parks later says on the incident of being arrested and like the whole just that moment of not moving is, I felt that if I didn't stand up, it meant that I approved of the way I was being treated, and I did not approve. So the story I was taught when I was a kid, she was tired. I pictured her an old woman. She's not. She was literally 45 years old when this is going
She's
down.
like, here and no further.
Yeah.
The buck stops with me right now.
I'm done with this.
As a 45-year-old woman, I get the place that comes from.
Yeah.
There comes a point in age when you are just no longer willing to play the game on any level, and you're done.
Right. Now, there was a lot of speculation at that time that it was part of the NAACP, and it was part of a movement. Well,
basically the way that today we're like, Antifa is funded by George Soros or whatever.
Yeah.
There's always a shade of that conspiracy theory.
Yeah, well, it was not premeditated.
No, of
she
course
completely acted on her own. And
organic grassroots movement.
Right.
The only thing that ever works.
And what actually caused her to like truly just be tired, she had a genetic, I believe it was a genetic disorder of Brutus. It's where you get swelling in the cartilage tissues. The water jelly sacs that make your joints move.
Oh! You can take chondroitin and hydroxin or something?
Yeah.
Well, we give that to goats, actually.
Well, she had some stiff, she was stiff, she was sore.
She was working at that time, right?
Yeah.
So she's off on a hard day's work.
She just got done working, too. She was a seamstress.
She was a seamstress. Was she still working on the Air Force Base at this time?
Yes. At this time, she was still at the Air Force Base as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she's a 45-year-old woman who
just got off
works
work.
her bum off at 2 different jobs.
Yeah.
And this guy has been beefing with her and other black people in general for months.
Since 1943. Here we are in 1955.
Yeah.
Decade.
A decade. 12 years.
Yes.
At some point you gotta be like, are you kidding me now?
Yeah. So now, here we are at her trial. This is a court case that is in the Alabama District Court.
Okay.
So her case, her personal case, was handled by E.D. Nixon himself and Clifford Durr. She's got 2 of the highest profile lawyers on her case of her time.
That is
We're talking about Cochran, dude. We're talking about Kardashian status lawyers.
Right.
These are the biggest names of their time.
Right.
And they have her case. And she was charged with the disobedience, but in the federal court, it was ruled unconstitutional. So she had to pay her court fees because at the time of her arrest, fees had to be paid.
Right.
Fees just had to be paid. She was charged with disobedience and found guilty for disobedience.
So she lost her district court case.
She lost her district court case.
But then the federal
Frederick Gray took her case to the Supreme Court under Bauer and Gale.
Right. Bauer versus Gale.
Yes.
That previous court case that had already been ruled on.
That case doesn't get officially ruled on until 1956, a year after her trial.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that case was...
She takes it in 55 to trial, though. It takes a year for the Supreme Court to do what the Supreme Court needs to do. So simultaneously, while her court in December of 55 and in early 56 is going on, Gray takes a copy of her case, dropping her name, taking other plaintiffs, and taking it up to the Supreme Court. Exact same trial, pretty much, though.
Pretty much. Okay.
Yeah.
I get it. All right.
Yeah. So, she did plead not guilty, And technically, the trial was over in a total of 30 minutes.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's like those Alabama juries love
that.
half-hour deliberations.
Right. So she was actually charged on state charges rather than municipal ones.
What?
Yeah. Under the prosecution's request, and the judge granted that change. So that's why she was state law. Yeah. That's how she was found guilty.
Under state law, not even the municipal ordinance. Oh my God, the injustice.
Was trying to delay it. The state court was going to delay it.
Well, yeah, because Alabama in 1956 was like the most racist place ever. Well, except for Mississippi.
Now, she personally did not testify on her behalf because 2 other witnesses stood up and confirmed that there were opening seating. White witnesses at this. And then...
Right, we believe the white people.
Of course. So, we don't file an appeal on behalf of Rosa Parks because her appeal is already in federal court. Does that make sense?
No, I don't understand.
Her appeal is the Boward-Gale Accord hearing.
Oh, okay, that is her appeal. So then why do you say she didn't file an appeal?
Because she didn't file it. She's not a part of the Boward-Gale trial.
The Boward-Gale trial, however, is also an appeal of her case.
Bingo.
Interesting.
Yeah. They didn't want to have her case going on in the Alabama courts while the Supreme Court was ruling over Broward versus Gale. Okay. Because it was pretty much the same thing.
Right.
And because she was busy trying to not get charged under state law, she couldn't be fighting for federal law.
I see.
Does that make sense?
Yep, totally.
Yeah. So she had to take care of her own bullshit.
We still have rules that kind of...
Yeah, no, that's still a thing.
Yeah,
no, that is still very much a thing for all people. That's not just for black community. That was literally... You can't be in 2 court cases at one time.
You can't have the same case in both state and federal courts simultaneously, to be clear.
Yes. And then that's where the federal court ends up ruling that the segregation is illegal and unconstitutional. And that's when they have to change laws. Now, on December 20th, 1956, the Supreme Court orders the mandate. That's when I told you that the Mayor Gale was handed the cease and desist letter by the U.S. Federal Marshals.
U.S. Marshals, yeah.
Yeah. Now, in response and in retaliation to the Montgomery bus boycott and in response to her trial, because they knew that there was going to be a boycott, Police Chief Commissioner Clyde Sellers, which is why he's on the Boward versus Gale case, he's being convicted, charged under that. If you remember, I mentioned his name earlier.
Yeah.
He issued a Get Tough policy, harassing all black pedestrians, anyone who might be associated with the protest, anyone who's associated with wanting to do anything activist-wise, were to be harassed, arrested, anyone who...
He's criminalizing civil protest.
Yep.
That's what you're talking about.
Yep.
So it's basically the people who, went after today's Black Lives Matter movement.
Yep.
Okay, got it.
And also, the police organized escorts for their white passengers' security.
Because those were the people who clearly needed security on the effing buses.
Right, exactly.
Jiminy Christmas.
Oh, yeah. Now, in February of 56...
Hold on, can I...
oh, yes, please.
If you study the history of this time, one of the things you should eventually come across, and this is kind of more overview, it has nothing to do with Rosa Parks, but it is important to understand culturally. We used black people as slaves and made, by we I mean the country, used black people as slaves, made them do all the hard labor, and when they could no longer legally do that, they then framed black men in particular as simultaneously lazy and indigent, and also exceptionally criminal and violent. So any show of anger or resistance to overt, cruel, and inhumane abuse was criminalized culturally, legally, on every level. This, about the way we treated black men in particular, people of color in general, and black men in particular, they were made out, any resistance was made out to be violence and criminality. And that's really important, I think, to the understanding the moment that brings this up. So please continue.
All right. So now here we are to February 1956. A state grand jury. So December 56 is when the Supreme Court rules the ordinance.
Unconstitutional.
Yes.
Right.
We're in February of 56, so before December.
Okay.
The grand state jury declares the boycott illegal, and they arrest 115 protest leaders.
There's no such thing as an illegal boycott. You have the right to choose what you do and do not buy, and which services you do and do not participate in.
Yep.
There literally cannot be such a thing as an illegal boycott. A boycott is simply choosing not to use a service or buy a product. Continue.
Martin Luther King was the only one charged for this.
Of course he was.
Of course. Now, on December 2nd, there was a meeting that was held in the Mount Zion Church.
December 2nd, 1956, correct? Or are we done now, 19...
My dummy self didn't write down the year.
May I look at your notes and see if I can discern it?
It had to have been December 55. It had been right before the protest, right before her trial, because she went on trial on December 5th, and the protest kicked off. It was only supposed to be the day of the 5th, and then it ended up kicking off because she got convicted.
Yeah, so December 2nd, 1956.
So there was extensive television coverage, and on the 4th of December, a lot of the pastors had announced to their congregation, I think this is actually 55. This is, I think, the year she got arrested. When was her arrest? Because this is the trial for it. 1955 we're in. That's right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're in 1955 right now in December 4th. So the trial's being announced on television, the protest is being announced in all the churches, and on the day of the trial is when the protest is actually supposed to take place. And it's just supposed to be, like I said, one day. But everyone got upset.
Wait a minute. This was... so this is supposed to be like, city ordinance broken, state law broken. The Supreme Court hasn't ruled yet, so technically they're in okay territory. They expect this to be an open and shut, one and done.
Pretty much. That's what they're expecting with the protest, or the boycott. So, with the boycott, they ended up meeting at Mount Zion Church, which was Martin Luther King's church, and they formed the Montgomery Improvement Association to oversee the boycott. They elected King as their leader. And there was over 1,500 people in attending that meeting that night.
I don't know if you've ever seen 1,500 people try to cram into a church, but that's a lot.
Yeah.
There are no churches in 1955 that can hold 1,500 people.
Yeah. And there were speeches done by Nixon and King. Rosa Parks did not actually give a speech.
Wait, you
that
should
night.
when you say Nixon, you should probably mention.
Edgar Nixon.
Edgar Nixon, not the later president.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about E.D. Nixon, the man who was covering her trial, being one of her lawyers. So Rosa did not actually get to speak at the protest, at the meeting. And it has actually been interpreted as gender inequality since they did not allow her to speak. I couldn't find who said it to her, but the rumor through the grapevine of the wiki, of all the research that I found, and like I said, I even went off the wiki and tried to find a couple, like, other sources,
Sure.
and it just said someone had told her that she had said enough and didn't need to speak that night. Like, damn, dude. No wonder it's gender inequality on that one. So now, they came up with 3 demands out of the boycott. Like, out of that meeting on December 2nd, they want courteous treatment, first come, first served policy with segregated seating. They were okay sitting at the back of the bus.
They just wanted
First come, first served.
treatment.
I don't have to move if he gets on.
Right.
Yeah. And to hire black drivers for black routes and buses. You want to segregate? Segregate the bus routes. Hire us black drivers.
It's a strange thing because
They weren't even...
in the early days, the issue wasn't even segregation itself. It was about fair and just treatment of segregated areas. They weren't protesting the notion of segregation.
Yeah.
They were protesting that the segregated accommodations didn't even come close. They weren't even a little bit the quality of segregated white areas.
Right.
That was the issue.
Oh yeah, the quality was so much lower too.
So much lower. It wasn't just that black people were expected to drink out of different drinking fountains. It was that the water didn't come out right in those drinking fountains.
Right.
That is the issue. And this was on every level. Education, buses, drinking fountains, everywhere there was segregation, the facilities physically did not come up to par for black people. For humans. And that is the core of the issue. And incidentally, that very understandable, very logical human notion is also what brought a lot of white allies on board.
Yeah.
They were like, no, I couldn't use that drinking fountain because I physically couldn't use it. It wouldn't work.
Right.
That made a big difference.
Yeah, and the white people had the privilege to use the black facilities.
Right. So if, for example, the black drinking fountain happened to be working that day, but the white drinking fountain wasn't, no problem with the white person using the black one, if they were willing, of course.
Yeah.
But the same would not be true in reverse.
Yeah.
It's just bigotry. This is literally the definition of bigotry.
Yep. So now on December 6th and through the 8th, King held a press conference, and he had announced that they were going to continue the boycott. So trial was on the 5th, came out, Rosa's guilty. Continue the boycott.
The now illegal boycott.
Yes. And now on December 8th, the boycott has dismissed the demands, and that the MIA, which is the Montgomery Improvement Association.
Oh.
I don't know why I always forget it's improvement. So the MIA gathers up together. Rosa's out of jail. She didn't have to serve any jail time. She just had to pay a fine. So Rosa's there, and she starts up as the dispatcher to conduct a free rideshare service. Sounds like the Little Times might have been involved somewhere.
Right? So this is what I love about the civil rights movement in this time. They were not just about bringing attention to the problem. They definitely did that. They were also about finding ways around it to solve the problem.
Yeah.
This is important. This is the tool that people in every day, in every age, need to see as the example. It's not just about addressing, hey, look, this problem exists. You have to do that at the same time that you are finding ways around that problem.
Right. Absolutely. So after 381 days, this boycott went on. And that was after the federal courts.
Over a year.
Over a year. So this started December 1st was her arrest of 1955.
Right.
Here we are, December 20th, 1956. 381 days later, the federal courts made their ruling, and that's when King called off the protest. Now, in this time, in this 381 days, Rosa was ostracized. She lost her job as a seamstress, and she also lost her job at the Maxwell Air Force Base. Her husband was also terminated from his barber position on the base.
So they lost everything winning this.
Winning this, they lost everything. Down to their home, even.
This is what makes a hero a hero.
Yeah.
A real hero. I say this a lot of times. We forget to tell people something about heroes that I think is really important to understand what a hero is. A hero has bloody feet.
Yeah.
A hero is starving to death. A hero loses everything and does stuff anyway.
Yep.
That's what makes Rosa Parks a hero. She lost everything. She kept going. She never stopped. Never stopped.
Here we are in 55 and 56. They lost their house. Their landlord had actually increased their rent an additional $10 per month during all of this.
Oh, of course.
Of course.
Kick a dolly wellies down.
Right. And in February of 1956, so this is a couple of months after the trial's done and over, Martin Luther King has issued $250 to help Rosa pay for rent out of the Montgomery Improvement Association funds. At this time, she started developing some health problems. She had chronic insomnia, stomach ulcers, and even a heart condition that they believe was brought on by stress. But all this time, sick as a dog, she's traveling to Detroit, Michigan, and she's speaking with the United Auto Union Workers. The 600 chapter, I think, chapter 600. And she was talking to them in despite of her connection with the NAACP, who did not like unions at the time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
She saw the big picture.
On this history.
She saw the big picture.
Yeah.
Whether anybody else did or not, she just did what was right.
Right. So in her hard times, obviously she didn't have a job. Virginia Durr, our lovely Durr, I love her, I really do. She offered Rosa a job at Highlander. Now Highlander is a really cool school in my opinion. It is a school for revolutionaries. It is literally a school that teaches you how to be a protester. It is one of the...
Wait a minute. There's a school for that?
Apparently.
Yeah, wait, why have I never heard of it till just now?
It's called Highlander. Pretty much what this school did was it was a school that allowed you to learn how to be a leader and like develop leader skills.
Leadership school, okay. Okay.
But it specifically focused.
But it really means revolutionary.
It's specifically focused on civil rights leaderships.
Yes.
Right.
Wait, is this school still in operation?
You know, I didn't look. Oh yeah, fact check me on that one.
We're gonna find out.
So yeah, Rosa actually ended up turning down that job because she actually was afraid of the repercussions of racism.
Sure.
She actually herself attended that school for a little while.
It is
because
incredible
of
to say because
she actually did attend Highland herself. But
it is incredible. Yeah. I do want to say this. There is a portion of the population today that thinks of 1956 almost as ancient history.
Right.
They think that 1956 is black and white photographs, even though it's colored photographs by then.
Yeah.
And has been for a hot minute. They don't understand that the people who were walking around in 1956
Are still walking
Many
today.
of them, I won't say most, many of them are still walking around today. The things that happened then are recent history,
Yeah.
and they include current events. And I think that's important to note when we're talking about things
Yeah.
like this academy.
Yeah.
Virginia Der.
Highland School. Or Highlander.
How do you spell Der?
DURR.
That's what I thought.
So, while you're looking that up, in 1957, the Park family moves to Detroit, Michigan. And that was because of economic insecurity. There was deterioration in the family's health. Her mother was passing. Her mother was aging. I'm not going to say passing. Her mother was aging. She had health issues, so she just needed to get out of Alabama. Plus, there was a lot of threats, death threats, and
It's called the Highlander Folk School.
thank you.
Go ahead.
And there was also some divisions within the NAACP and disagreements that she personally had with Martin Luther King Jr. that kind of like drove a rift, and that made her move to Detroit, Michigan. And very briefly, in 59, the family had also moved to Hampton, Virginia, where she had worked as a hostess, but by December, they were back in Detroit, where they had lost their apartment again. But they had moved into a meeting hall for the Progressive Civil League, and that's a local black professional organization for the
wait. Rosa and her husband had to move into the meeting hall that they used?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Alright, I do have an answer about the Highlander question.
Ah, yes.
The previously known Highlander Folk School is now called the Highlander Research and Education Center, and as near as I can tell, it still exists.
Cool. I wonder what it focuses on nowadays.
On March 29th, 2019, a fire destroyed a building that housed executive offices in the Highlander Center. Nobody was inside the building, but many items were lost, including decades of historical documents, speeches, artifacts, and memorabilia.
Dang.
White supremacist graffiti in the form of the Iron Guard symbol was found at the site, and the county and state are both investigating whether arson was committed.
Sounds like it.
Do not know. That is in a section labeled since 2000. This is 2025. I'm sure that investigation has been concluded and the wiki has not been updated, would be my guess.
Right.
But, yes, the institution started by Virginia Der, best friend of Rosa Parks, still exists.
I don't think
That
it
is
started
cool.
by her. I think she was just, or was it started by her?
Isn't that what you said?
No, she was just offered a job there by Virginia.
Oh, it was founded in 1932 by activist Miles Horton.
Oh! Oh yeah, I forgot about Miles
And
Horton.
James Dombrowski.
Yeah, those two are good people too. I forgot about those guys. Those are supposed to be in here too. No
Okay.
relation.
Anyway, go ahead.
So they were living in their hall, in the Progressive Civil League hall, where Rosa managed the Treasury Department for them, and Raymond was the hall's caretaker.
Aw.
Yes, I think that's precious. These two, I love the love story of Raymond and Rosa. I really do. Like, those two go through so much hail and high water, and, like, they stick through it thick and thin. So in the 60s, she had a couple major surgeries, but she did make a full recovery and was able to find work at a sewing company called Stockton Sewing Company. Raymond was able to find a job as a barber in an uptown, not uptown, but like uppity, swanky neighborhood, a historical district called, in Detroit called Virginia Park. She was an honorary member of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, that's still in my mouth, of 1962 in Birmingham, Alabama. So she continued to travel and continued to do boycotts and protests. So the Southern Christian Leadership Conference of 62 was just a gathering of a bunch of people who, I don't even remember now. I wish I wrote down more details. So scratch that thought. Moving on.
I will say this. There is a version of Christianity today and then that is deeply racist. Antithetical to that is a version of Christianity then and today that actively and has always and effectively fought racist policies in political scenarios. A lot of people will not tell you that the abolitionist movement was largely, not largely, I won't say largely, it was bolstered heavily, specifically by groups of Christian women and Christian pastors who said all of this is antithetical to everything biblical.
Right.
And those people do need to be held as distinct and separate than those who attempted to use Christian doctrine to enslave and ostracize and marginalize people. That was exactly the same true then as it is right now.
Right, you are not wrong. There was the March on Washington, which I think we all know about, in 1963, with over 250,000 participants. A brilliant protest show up. She was honored there in their tribute to women.
Can we talk about somebody else who was at the March on Washington who walks the earth to this day? Just to bring people into the moment.
Yeah.
Bernie Sanders was at the March on Washington. Yo.
Yeah.
Bernie Sanders was arrested during the Montgomery Boycotts.
Yeah.
He was part of the housing protest.
See, I told you, this sparked protests everywhere.
So, there are people who hear names like Rosa Parks and the name of Ruby Bridges, and they think, oh, that's so long ago. Oh, that's all ancient history. What? There's no segregation now. There's no slavery now. I need people to understand. Bernie Sanders was there.
Right.
He was there. Anyway,
right.
Keep going. Just had to point that out while we were talking about how important this moment is.
Yeah.
It's important to today.
Still to this day, yeah.
Right.
So
it's not that far behind us.
In 1964, she helped get John Conyers elected for Congress. He had her work as his secretary and receptionist. She focused on addressing social and economic welfare challenges such as welfare, education, job discrimination, affordable housing.
I meant Birmingham.
Oh,
I think it was Birmingham, not Montgomery, that Sanders was at.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
And while she worked with John Conyers, she had attended hospitals, senior citizen homes, and other community gatherings to help boost him in the black community. She even convinced Martin Luther King Jr. to endorse him as the Democrat from Michigan in '65. And he was the Democrat Michigan up until 2007. He was the longest serving African American to this day. Now,
this is legacy. This is a real and living legacy.
You treat her with defiance because she's so quiet, so serene. Just a very special person. That's John Conyers' words on Rosa Parks.
Wait, deference? You said defiance. Did you mean deference?
Yeah, I did say defiance.
Hold on, where's this quote?
Highlighted in the pink.
Oh, difference. You treat her with difference because she was so quiet, so serene. Just a very special person. I'll bet you still meant to say deference.
I don't know. Maybe.
I'll fact check us.
Okay, yeah, make sure I use the right word. Google might have corrected me anyways when I was like speech to texting it.
Sometimes if you
I didn't catch
spell a word,
yeah,
sort of wrong, it'll give you the wrong suggestion.
Oh no, I gotta go potty and I still have like so much left.
Really?
I can't hold my bladder either. I don't have a lot left. I'm in the 1960s through the 80s.
Do you want to take a quick break? I'll take her over here.
Yeah, this is what's left on this page is between 65 to 69. I'll be right back.
All right.
Between Hi, we're human. Between 1965 through 1967, she attended the Selma Montgomery March. I think probably anybody who loves this moment in history understands and knows about the Selma Montgomery March. She joined Lowndes County Freedom Organization, Lowndes, Lowndes, supported the Freedom New Party, and was an admirer of the great Malcolm X, the founder and spokesperson of Nation of Islam. She befriended the armed self-defense advocate Robert F. Williams, author of Negroids with Guns, and was exiled to China. I feel like this sentence was not written as clearly as it could have been. In 1967, the Detroit she spoke in support, comparing the riots to the boycott. She attended protests as a part of the Memphis sanitation strike, as well as she attended the Black Panther Conference in Philadelphia in 1968. You have got to let me edit your notes in the future.
Huh? I mean, okay, this is where, okay, we're getting to the point in my notes where my pain started kicking in when I was trying to edit them. So, like, I didn't get to edit my notes all the way thoroughly at this point.
Did you actually read this sentence? No.
I didn't get to edit all of it. Not to mention, like, I'm not reading my notes verbatim.
Right, of course, because you know the information.
Yeah. Okay, I can take back over.
Hold on! We just got to the Black Panthers!
Alright. Okay. Yeah. Right, I told you she was a Black Panther. She's fucking cool. Sorry with the F-bomb. Always. Can't wait.
Do you have any idea? I don't know if you guys will ever see this because I'm genuinely concerned that this video is going to get taken down for the F word, the use of the D, and more mentions than I can count of the R word.
Oh yeah, no, I'm actually, I would be surprised if we get to post this.
I'm a little concerned we have to do this episode over again. I'll be totally honest.
That's why I was trying to be like, yo, no, I'm not trying to use these words, but hey, part of it.
Somehow I managed to get through every single episode without doing this.
I pick topics that have really bad stories, apparently.
Moving on.
Anyways. Black Panther movement. Let's see. Did you mention how she advocated for political prisoners?
Nope. I literally got to right there.
Okay. So in the 1970s, she supported the Black Power movement, and she attended the National Black Political Convention in 1972, Gary, Indiana, where she advocated for the release of political prisoners, and she also played a key role in establishing the Detroit chapter for Joanne Little's Defense Committee. And Joanne Little was acquitted of murder of a white prison guard who she killed in self-defense, again, for guess what he was doing to her.
Right.
And so on behalf of, and also establishing the Detroit chapter of, for the NAACP, she organized on behalf of Gary Taylor, who was convicted of wrongfully shooting he was wrongfully convicted of shooting a 13-year-old boy while he was being attacked by a group of racists who were protesting black students integrating into the schools.
Wow.
Yeah. Gary Taylor was freed in 2016 after 41 years in prison.
This is not ancient history.
This isn't even
This is current events.
2016.
This channel is called High on History. We started with Rosa Parks. We all know that's history. This is current events.
Yeah.
Just to be clear.
Yeah. She also spoke in support of Angela Davis, who was acquitted in the kidnapping and the murder of Judge Harold Haley. And Angela Davis was referred to by Rosa as a dear sister who endured significant persecution. And Angela Davis was an activist, a scholar, a Marxist. This woman was kind of an all-around kind of like...
Angela Davis is her own incredible biography that at some point we will probably cover.
And again, she's still alive to this day, being a civil rights activist.
Same with Ruby Bridges.
Yeah. And she actually had bought the gun that killed the judge 5 days before the... Yeah.
But she didn't do it?
But she didn't do it. Oh, like I said, I gotta look more into her. This trial.
That does sound like a story. A story.
Right? I bought the gun, but I didn't do it. She advocated...
Oh my god, now I'm having a reggae moment. I'm sorry.
So, she also was advocating for the Wilmington 10 in 1971. 10 men and 1 white woman was convicted of arson and conspiracy. When I say men, I am referring to black men, of course. I decided not to go in depth on that one. At this point, I was starting to get burnt out with the grotesque injustice of our system. So I didn't actually go into the trial of the Wilmington 10.
Particularly because the further you go into the injustice that started, as you mentioned, we start the story in the 1918, 1915, 1918, into 1931, 1944, 1945, 1956. Here we are.
Yeah.
It's 2025. The roots that created all of these things here, they still exist today. And all the things that we can look at history and make some kind of moral judgment about. This is why we tell this story, because it's still happening right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And then she was also advocating for the RNA 11, which
the
were...
RNA 11, I don't know that term either.
So the RNA stands for the Republic of New Africa, which is a black nationalist and separatist movement that basically is equivalent to the state of Jefferson or Cascadia.
Black segregationists?
Yeah, except the states are South Carolina, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, and Mississippi.
Okay.
And they basically are demanding that the descendants of slaves be given reparations, given the land, due to all the problems that they had faced and that they were not given the direct vote that they were to determine the desire of citizenship. So
as a legal and philosophical argument, it's at least meritorious enough to consider, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, no, I completely agree. Well, 11 of these men were arrested and charged with murder and other crimes when their headquarters were just raided. I actually
When their headquarters were what?
Raided by the FBI.
Okay.
So Is
there evidence that they actually committed the murder itself?
This was like a 3-day standoff. They were fucking they were shooting up the building. This was not a good thing. This was a standoff.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember watching something, I wasn't specifically focusing on what I'm doing here when I found out about them originally.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I was watching some other documentary about something else for some other reason.
Something we'll talk about in the History of History episode, which we will do,
Yeah.
is how one of the cool things about the study of history is you're never just studying the thing you think you're studying. You're studying all the things that go into the thing that you think you're studying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
So, after all of this protesting going on that she's advocating for and standing up for, she experiences another health problem. She lands herself in the hospital because she slips on some ice. Yeah. It's okay, though.
That's very human.
That's very human. It's okay. In 1977, her husband passed away from throat cancer. And a few months later, her brother passes away from stomach cancer. Yeah, like she lost her husband and her brother in the same year.
Oh, man.
Yeah, she was, well, I mean, like, I told you how much I love their love story, but, like, her and her brother were extremely close throughout their entire lives, and to lose both her husband and her brother the same year, I could only imagine the heartbreak. Yeah. So she took a small hiatus from the protesting life, and she moved in with her mother to a senior care center, a senior living home, where she cared for her mother until her mother passed away in 1979.
That's the year I was born. Just, again, just to show you how truly current events, like there's a whole group of people who like to pretend like this moment in history is somehow the distant past. I was born in 1979.
Yeah.
I don't even have that much gray hair yet.
Right? You have less gray hair than I do, actually, and I'm 35.
To be fair, gray hair isn't particularly chronological. I'm just saying, I'm not exactly a little old lady just yet.
Yeah, right. So, in the academic year of 1979 and 1980, she visited a Black Panther school. Now, I couldn't find the name of the school. I actually tried to look for the name. It was literally just called a Black Panther school.
This is what we're always yipping about in terms of the obfuscation of history. I ran into this also.
This is 79 and 80, too. Why can I not find
A
the name
Black
of the
Panther
school?
school, we should have the name of that. That should have been an easy look.
Right. Well, it was in Oakland, California, so she's all over this country protesting.
I love that for her. I love
Yeah.
that for anyone, really.
Right. So while she's there, the students perform a play in tribute of her refusal to move. So at the end of the play, she does a Q&A with the students, and she stays for like 2 or 3 hours talking to the kiddos at her school.
This is what real heroes look like.
Yeah, right, guys? And then afterwards, Erica Higgins, which was the director of the school, as well as another renowned activist. That's 420.
Oh my goodness,
Wow.
he said could not possibly happen.
And here we are.
Here we are.
1 hour and 48 minutes into this video, too, and we are only to the 1980s.
Oh, you are
Kidding. I can't believe this is a 2-hour video. Holy cow.
I told you.
I know. I've got 2 pages-ish left.
No. I want you to count. 1, 2. Okay, to be clear, there's almost almost nothing written on that one, but
And then
3.
that's our
Ha. And that's our outro page. Okay, fair.
So 2-ish.
2-ish.
I was counting right. Ish. Hey, 2 plus 2 equals fish. That's right. You hide behind Mr. Teddy Winkles. Okay, so Erica Higgins, the director of the school and the activist, recalls Rosa's visit, saying, "I consider Rosa Parks as a radical woman, a revolutionary, showing up in real time at the elementary school ran by the Black Panther Party." Like, that's cool.
There was a time when the word radical wasn't purely pejorative. I, as a somewhat radical person,
I don't know if she was referring to her as, like, radical in the sense of groovy. She's radical, that's bodacious.
Yeah, look at the date of the quote. That'll tell you how she meant it.
It would have been in 79-80.
Okay, radical was cool back then. But it hadn't become pejorative the way it is now. Now, trust me, the word radical has always been used pejoratively by some.
Yeah.
But in the 70s and 80s, the word radical was whatever is the opposite of pejorative. It was a hero word. Tubular, radical, cowabunga, dude!
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's the context in her particular time.
Yeah, see, and I was saying I don't know if it was in that context or if she was saying she's a radical as in the sense of the activist. A revolutionary woman showing up in real time at an elementary school ran by the Black Panther movement. So I don't know if she's referring to her as a cool woman or if she's saying, no, she's a radical. She was a revolutionary.
Honestly, she doesn't need to be saying either, given the academic speak.
Both, really.
She is that was an object. She's a radical woman, a revolutionary.
Showing up in real time.
So that's actually objective. She is Rosa Parks is objectively both radical and revolutionary for her time.
Yeah.
That is an objectively true statement. She doesn't need to be making either commentary, just to be clear.
That's fair on that one. So now we're into the 1980s. So she's working to support the Black Panther liberation, the Black Panther movement, the Black Liberation Army. She's working with the May 19th Communist Organization. She's working with the Republic of New Africa and the Weather Underground. She's even participating in Free South Africa movements, opposing the apartheid supported by the South African government. Sounds like she really knows what's up.
Hero.
Yeah, right, hero. Now, in 84 and 88, Jesse Jackson ran for president, apparently. Or at least he had presidential campaign.
Okay, so in 1988, I was 9 years old, and I vaguely remember that.
Okay, yeah, so I never knew Jesse Jackson ran for president. But he apparently ran for president, and she spoke on his behalf in the 88 DNC, the 88 DNC nomination.
And for all those people who are like, oh, don't you remember the Democrats were on the wrong side of history? When I was a kid, they were already on the right side of history. Okay, let's be clear.
And she said, at some point, we should step aside and let the younger people, to make sure they have the rights of first-class citizens, and we will see so little done by so many, we will just not give up. Right? That's part of the quote that she said for his nomination. Let's see. I didn't highlight that part because that's when I clocked out of work.
Yes, we do our research while we are at work.
Throughout the 80s, she extensively worked with the radio host and NAACP activist Joe Madison. They worked
cool.
Yeah, right.
That is so cool.
Right, yeah.
I gotta tell you, 97% of what you've covered here today, I had no idea about.
Oh yeah, dude, right? So they worked together to organize a citywide protest to overturn an ordinance that would ban non-residents from using parks. So apparently, if you were not a resident, you could not use this park.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, that was in Dearborn, Michigan. And together, they ran for president and vice president of the Detroit chapter, the entire state chapter for the NAACP. They ended up losing that election. In 85, Rosa co-founded the Rosa and Raymond Parks Institute for Self-Development, with Elaine Edson Steele, and the building of the institution was influenced by Parks' experiences at Montgomery Industrial School and the Highlander, which was developing leaders for advocating civil rights and also through this institute, the Rosa and Raymond Parks Institute, they created bus tours visiting important sites throughout the country, focusing on the Underground Railroad and civil rights locations.
Wow.
So between like 85 and 87, she was working with her organization, creating tour spots and creating a school that was meant to help advocate civil rights leaders, to help develop the future leaders for civil rights movements. And then also in 87, she was working on the board of advocates for Planned Parenthood and donated several quilts made by her family to the Detroit Historical Museum. Now, in 1990s, the year I'm born, now, 1990 right here, she continued to be an activist, and in 1990, for her birthday, she was at a gala in D.C. calling for the release of Nelson Mandela. On her birthday, she's still protesting. It's a day to celebrate.
In the 1990s.
Yeah. In 94, she was at the National Coalition of Black Reparations in America, with Jesse Jackson and Queen Mother Moore, who was another black activist and a nationalist. She was also one of the founders of the RNA, which is the New African, she participated in the Million Man March, and throughout the 90s, she penned several autobiographies. We've got a total of 3 autobiographies by Rosa.
Wow.
Yeah. 92, she released Rosa Parks, My Story. 94, she released Quiet Strength. And in 97, she released Dear Miss Rosa Parks. Now, in 94, her home was broken into by a young boy by the name of Joseph Skipper. He was a young black man where he claimed he had deterred the intruder. Or deterred the intruder and demanded a reward from Rosa. She initially gave him $3, which, I mean, okay, in 94, $3 wasn't a lot of money, but whatever.
My allowance was more than that prior to 94.
Yeah, right.
I know because I got 10 Deutschmark a week in 1990 when I was in Germany.
Nice. So he demanded more money and then assaulted her. He punched her in the face a couple times and just kind of beat poor Rosa up. Took $103 from her.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Young man, I hope you still feel guilty.
Oh, the vigilantes got his ass.
Wait, what?
The vigilantes got him.
Well, I mean, that doesn't surprise me, but what do you mean got him? Like, he's not dead, is he?
No, he's alive, but, I mean...
They made him think twice about it.
Oh, yeah, he got beat up. So Rosa calls Steele, which was the woman who helped her found the Rosa and Raymond Institute, contacts her, and Steele calls the police. That was October 30th. October 31st, the vigilantes had caught up with Skipper, beat him to a pulp, and had the police take care of him. Yeah. One day.
Yeah, but...
And this is in 1994. This is before
I wonder
internet.
It just makes me wonder if he's turned his life around and if he's a decent human being now, because I can't imagine you wind up in jail and you're like, are you kidding me? The old woman I robbed is literally Rosa Parks, who fought for my freedom. What the hell is wrong with me?
Right.
So, like, I'm gonna... Just on a personal note, I'm gonna go find out what happened to him.
I want to know. I think we're getting a follow-up story to this.
We might get into a follow-up here.
So yeah, he got beat up and got sent to jail. Rosa actually expressed sorrow and acknowledged that the conditions that brought him up is what made him go to those extremes.
Because even from her time to right there, 1994,
Yeah.
is life significantly better or more secure or less dangerous for young black men? No, the heck it is not.
In 1994, Minneapolis and Washington, D.C., Chicago, Detroit, Michigan, they were all fighting for title of murder capital of the United States.
Yep. So this is and that title for murder capital, understand that what leads to a title like that, what leads to the fact that we can even talk about that, is poverty, desperation, and disenfranchisement. These people do not get their needs met, and eventually this leads to social, civil, criminal unrest. Period. End of story. It's algebraic. It's algebraic.
Absolutely. Now, we all remember 2001, right?
Oh,
That
are you
happened.
American? You are probably. Oh wait, no.
Oh, we do have a few non-Americans here.
Not only that, but 2001 means that you're at minimum 24. So anybody who's underneath 24 does not remember why 2001. Anyone under 24 doesn't understand how 2001 changes American history.
Wow.
Not really. They don't really understand because they don't know what the world was before.
Wow. Okay. Well.
Yeah, we are. Even you are getting older now. We're there.
Well, okay. And 2001 was 9/11 for the United States. That's when the World Trade Towers got struck down, and we were attacked by Al Qaeda. And so she wrote an open letter warning against military action and advocating for international collaboration. And that was kind of like her last stance politically, was that open letter. And it was signed by a few other people, including celebrities. I didn't get everyone's names. There was a bunch of names on that letter.
It's so recent in history that we won't be probably covering this on this channel, so I just want to say this now. For all time, and having nothing to do with decade to decade, there have been those who have fought for cooperation, and those who have fought for the further and further and further militarization of the United States. That fight started way back when Jefferson was still president.
Yeah.
And it continues now. History is a continuum.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah. So, now, in 2002, she received a notice for not paying rent.
I heard about this.
Yep. So, she managed to make her way, she was unable to manage her own affairs due to physical and mental decline. In 2002, that's 2 years before she dies. So she's 90
She's
now.
getting evicted
She's
for not
90.
paying her rent.
Yeah.
I'd like to point out that in 2002, Rosa Parks apparently doesn't own a home of her own and is paying rent under the American system.
Being evicted from her home at this
Being
point.
evicted.
Yeah.
This is what we do to our heroes.
Yeah. Now, her
Right
rent, now, the Hartford Memorial Baptist Church in Detroit did pull together funds and help her pay for her rent. The executives from the company who owned her housing property heard about this eviction.
Okay.
Oh boy. Guess what they did?
Made sure her rent got paid?
Oh yeah, for the rest of her life.
Good.
So she got to live rent-free for the rest of her life at her cozy little apartment. Now, Steele defends Parks' care and stated that the eviction was sent by mistake Her family alleges that there was a mismanagement of the funds and something wasn't right.
This is the system we live with.
Right, right. Now, as I had said at the very beginning, October 24th, 2004 is when our dearly beloved Rosa Parks, our hero, our icon, crossed over. She died of natural causes, peacefully in Detroit, Michigan. And to honor her death on that date, both in Detroit and in Montgomery, the first front rows of the bus was blocked off with a black ribbon in honor of her up until the 27th, which was the day of her actual funeral. Her remains were flown down to Montgomery for a viewing service before being officially buried in Detroit. But before she was flown to Detroit, her remains were also brought to Washington, D.C., where she circled, before the pilot had circled the air twice before landing, singing the song We Shall Overcome. She's the first woman in history to lay in honor on the Capitol Rotunda. She's only the second Black American private citizen and 31st individual citizen to be laid in state at the public memorial. Over 40,000 people came to view and pay their respects. She was then brought home to Detroit, where her casket was put on display at Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History. A service was held at the Greater Grace Temple on November 2nd, where she was finally laid to rest with her mother and her husband in a mausoleum. Yeah.
Wow.
She had a beautiful service. This woman, upon her death, like I said, she was the first woman to lie in honor at the state rotunda. Like, holy cow.
You know, I've only ever picked flowers from, like, the public flower beds here in Eugene. But, like,
Yeah.
now I kind of want to just go buy her a bouquet.
Right. So, now, California and Colorado honor her birthday of February 4th as Rosa Parks Day. Oregon, Texas, and Ohio honor her arrest on December 1st. She's received the Spring Grand Medal, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, Congressional Gold Medal, and there is a statue of her at the U.S. Capitol's National Statuary Hall.
And there's a statue at the LTD bus stop in Eugene, Oregon.
Yeah. And
Actually, you will find to this day in many, many, many bus stops, you will find her statue.
yeah. And then her home was to be destroyed in 2016 for developmental property purposes. And there was an American artist who lived in Berlin, Germany. His name was Ryan Mendoza. He had the house moved to his garden estate, where he partially restored it before Providence, Rhode Island Brown University bought the house, finished restoring it, and relocated it as an exhibit.
Oh.
So, what do we have to look forward to next week?
Oh, man.
I got you teary-eyed.
No, seriously.
I'm glad we could end on a high note.
Yeah, me too. We are going to change the pace. We just covered a couple of women who fought and lived hard.
Yeah.
Hypatia and then Rosa Parks.
Yep, and those were the women
Although
we
Hypatia
honored.
didn't live hard, she just died hard.
Those are all women for Women History Month.
They are, and I wanted to move on from Women's History Month, but a couple of things happened. First, this month would have been Pacific Islander Heritage Month, I believe it
For
was.
April?
I believe, March.
Oh,
March.
okay, yeah.
April, I believe, is Arab American History Month.
Okay.
However, as I mentioned last episode and this episode, the history of Hawaiian makes me so angry I stop being able to think and function. I am going to cover it at some point. I can't. I just emotionally can't right now.
Yeah.
I am going to go ahead and cover. I'm going to go in a really different direction. Beatrice Potter. Next episode, which is actually going to be next week, so that we can get back onto the correct schedule. We had to go an extra week here, which put us on this episode, non-payday week. That's the week we're trying to get off of is this week. So we're going to go back to the payday week, which means we will have an episode for you next week. We are going to cover the amazing and wonderful, delightful Beatrice Potter. That's probably going to put us at the end of our kind of women's history moment for the moment.
Right.
Just for the moment. We will always get back. We will always get back to the lovely ladies of our history.
And by subscribing, you help us reach our New Year's resolution of hitting 100 subscribers.
1,000! Woo! Ambition! I like it. I love it.
Not there yet. We just want 100 subscribers.
100 subscribers.
We've got 36 of you guys. Please share us. Please like us. Let us know that you love what we're doing.
Or give us suggestions, things we could cover, topics you want to hear about. We would love to jump down the rabbit holes you want to jump down to.
Absolutely.
Like,
we can always
we
use
love
some
the
inspiration.
exploration. That's what we're here for.
And so, last week's episode, 2 weeks ago episode, sorry, we got a comment. Yeah, I think it's actually 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
We got a comment from Ola Sylvia 1.
Yes! Oh my gosh, thank you!
Thank you for telling us that March 15th is Hypatia Day.
We didn't know that. Actually, your comment brought that to our attention. Thank you so much. I will... Oh, it's also the Ides of March. That's probably why we didn't know that.
Right. And then my birthday was 2 days after that, so there was a lot going on. But thank you for sharing that bit of information, and we're super glad that you found us and that you really enjoyed our video. Thank you for coming to our channel, and I hope you're here this week with us watching Rosa Parks. With that being
next week,
said,
Beatrice Potter.
Yeah, next week, Beatrice Potter. With that being said, guys, that's a wrap.
That is a wrap. Thank you so much for being here. Live long and prosper.
You got the mouse up here.
Oh, of course I do. That's new. I forgot.
I don't even see it. There it is.